Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to go ahead and take it back a little bit and talk about World of Warcraft. Some of you may have heard World of Warcraft Classics coming, and I wanted to talk about what it was really like getting a legendary items when legendary items were actually legendary. I have acquired one in World of Warcraft. I just wanted to let you know kind of what it was like because the game is coming out again, remastered basically, in August 27th. So a lot of people are watching it on Twitch, and it's starting to build momentum because a lot of people want to go back and play it again because that's when the game was really good in the beginning. I was one that played it. It was the last game that I played hardcore, and I kind of wanted to talk about it and let you know what to expect. Maybe you'll be interested. I do have some gameplay on the background from Shroud. At the end of this, I'm going to go ahead and show you the legendary weapon that I have because I still have the account, and I'll log in and kind of show you how it goes. So back then, it was not easy rating. I was definitely a hardcore player. I would play minimum was 5 hours a day was required of raiding alone. So if you can't raid for 5 hours, this guild wasn't for you. I was in Swords and Stabs was the name on Manaroth server, I believe. We were one of the best guilds on the server, but not the best. I think we were second in alliance and third overall. So World of Warcraft has two sides. They have the Horde and the Alliance. So you're either good or evil, and you fight against each other. It was a PvP server. I did a lot of PvP. I was very into it, and those were always the games that I enjoyed. The raiding was a lot of fun too. So we were probably not the server first, but we would get things really quickly after the first guild would get at them. Because we were more of a casual hardcore guild, because we only played 5 hours a day raiding. Now that's raiding itself. Of course, certain times we would ramp it up. We would maybe change it to like 7 hours or more if we were going through and doing new bosses, if there was new updates out. So I ended up being one of the tanks for our raiding group. Back then, raids were 40 people, so you have to think of 40 people in a party, all trying to figure out a puzzle and doing the exact correct thing for each person to be able to take down a monster. And yeah, think about today how hard it's to do something like that with just one other person. The social aspect of WoW was huge because you were forced to make friendships because you can't do things by yourself. You could do some, but if you wanted to rise to the top, you had to push it. You had to talk to people, have fun with people, and that's when games really came together and people really did things for other people. So one of the raids is called Molten Core. It is need again you need 40 people. There's about like 7 bosses, I believe. So in this, I believe I was second tank. So I was not the main tank, but I was second. And there's a mob that drops a left binding and a mob that drops the right binding. So we ended up getting a left binding, went to our main tank, and then we ended up getting another left binding, and that one went to me. The odds of getting this, I think, were 0.4%, so under a percent, about almost half a percent. Also, you can only clear Molten Core once per week. So the odds of getting the bindings was insane. So I ended up getting the left. Someone else got a left as well because we just kept getting lefts and no rights. And then our main tank ended up leaving. I was promoted to main tank. And yeah, main tank of a 40-person, really hardcore guild was pretty awesome. I was also decked out and everything. Even though it was 5 hours to raid a day, you also had to come, with heal pots, defensive stuff, all your enchantments, all your quests. You had to do a quest just to be able to get into Molten Core. So eventually, it took about 10 months from when I got the left binding that Sulfuric Hammer actually dropped. So we could go ahead and make that for somebody else. And I've been grinding daily, saving up for these things called enhanced elementium bars, which is what you use to create the legendary weapon. And I mean, I'm talking like 4 or 5 hours of farming a day when I could, which is almost daily, you know, unless I worked. I pretty much did nothing else because this game pretty much engulfed me. So with that, I had them saved up for when I get the right binding, and someone got the sulfuric hammer and they were able to get it. All they needed was the elementium bars. And I was like, you know what? Back then, you don't understand how close people were in the guild. I offered up my elementium bars and gave them to the person so he could make the sulfuric hammer. Because now you got to remember, we're one of the top guilds. If we have a legendary weapon in our guild of 40 people, our guild basically gains reputation with everyone else. Because you see the items you're holding, you know? And it was always about being on top and, you know, being friends and getting everything the good of the guild, you know, because that's going to help us out a lot moving forward. So I did give that up. Unfortunately, about a month later, I got the right binding, which is fortunate, but at the time I didn't have this stuff to go ahead and create it now. Plus, I had to finish the quest, which I've been working on. So I was actually helped out by my guild leader then, and he did go ahead and give me some gold so I can get the elementium bars, because he said, you know, this is more of like an investment because you're always here. We need tanks, always need tanks. You're always there. You show up. I want you to have it. So he helped me out there. I did need to farm some more and get everything together, create everything, finish the quest. Quest was long. After that, once I had everything good, we had to go in the middle of the desert, summon this boss that took 40 people to kill. Eventually, we killed the boss, and I got Thunderfury. So all that took me about, I think it was 12 to 14 months to get a legendary weapon. I think I was the one of probably top 5 to have a legendary weapon, period. And we had the other person that had the hammer. Unfortunately, he was no longer with us because once that happened, he sold his account, and yeah. I think he sold it for, like he said, 1,700, because later he came back and wanted to join our guild with a new account and gear that account back up. It wasn't happening. So nowadays, you get legendary weapons all the time. Can you imagine grinding for 12 to 14 months just for one weapon? It was insane. It was insane, but the accomplishment when I actually got that weapon was amazing. Now, this weapon was a one-handed sword, and it hit the person and had a chance to put them in a cyclone, slowing their speed for 20 seconds by like 12%. Plus, it did nature damage. Also, it had kind of like a ball lightning effect. So if it hits one mob and another mob comes, it goes to that mob, it goes to the next mob, goes to the next mob, and it just keeps going. I think after about 2 weeks after I got it, they actually did nerf it a bit. Still overpowered for the level. Nowadays, when people get like level 100, they go ahead and get it. And, you know, they can get it a lot easier now because of, you know, you don't need 40 people all the time. But with Classic WoW coming back, it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes people to get that. So I just want to kind of like share what Classic WoW is about, because when it does come out, it's going to be pretty awesome. There's going to be some things like, you know, dungeon finders that aren't in there. And the reason is because that's where the fun was. You know, you're forced to go ahead and make new friends, you know, just screaming, looking for group. And eventually you find a group of people you enjoy playing with, and you join their guild, or they join yours, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're playing together all the time. So I think I played this game for about 4 or 5 years. Not hardcore the whole time, but hardcore for, I would say, at least 2 years. Okay, so we're in game. This is my character, a gnome warrior, which is funny because the characters in the game are really big, and when you're raiding and You see this little character going through and stepping to them. I pretty much came up to their big toe, which was really interesting. So here is my character, Kina. If I pull this out, you can see the Thunderfury. It is the legendary weapon. It was just insane. Not all my gear is insane now because that was level 50, I believe. And now I'm a little higher up. I'm 70. The game goes up to 100, but I obviously haven't been playing the whole time. If I go ahead and check it out, you can see it's orange. This is the game that put legendaries, epics, rares, commons on the map. So, yeah, there it is. I can now sell it for 11.5 gold, which is nothing. But it's pretty insane that I had to put all that time in to go ahead and get this weapon, but it meant a lot to me. So with the game coming out, if you want to try to get a legendary weapon, I just want to let you know, good luck.